Hi everybody, welcome to today's webinar. My name is McKay Allen. I'm the Inbound Marketing Manager at Log My Calls. You see our logo in the top right-hand corner of your screen. And we are a call tracking provider. Just to give you a little bit of information about who we are and a little bit about this webinar series if this is your first time attending one of our webinars. We're a call tracking, call analytics provider. We work with a lot of businesses across North America. We work with a lot of small businesses. We basically help them track which campaigns and ads are generating phone calls for them. So we can track how many calls are coming from organic search versus PPC versus maybe local radio or whatever else they're doing locally. So we work with a lot of businesses to help them manage their marketing ROI better. And then we also provide call recording. So these businesses use our tool to listen to calls, to settle customer disputes, to manage employee performance on the phone. And so it's a really good tool. We're coming out with a really neat product here in a couple of days that actually analyzes the content of the call as well, called Conversation Analytics. So instead of just saying this call came from PPC, it will tell you this call came from PPC and we analyzed the call and it resulted in a sale, for example. So anyway, pretty cool tool. As far as our webinars, we started our webinars several months ago because we realized there was kind of a blind spot with a lot of marketers in terms of some tactics, and everybody can learn a little bit more about their craft, and so we started inviting experts in to present on various topics that were their line of expertise. And so today's one such webinar. We've had webinars on PPC, on mobile marketing, on social media, on content marketing, on reputation management, on online reviews, everything. Today's is awesome, and we've got a good crowd today, and we're really excited that Main Street ROI and that Phil to join us today. We've done, I think, one webinar with Phil in the past, and so we're excited that he's here. A couple quick ground rules before we get started. First, we encourage you to ask questions throughout the webinar. Just type those into the little question bar on your GoToWebinar screen there, and I will read those questions to Phil at the conclusion of the webinar. The question answer period is very valuable, so make sure you ask questions and we'll answer those at the end. And then also this webinar is being recorded, and we will send the recording to you tomorrow morning bright and early, so you can share that internally, you can share that with your employees as well as with others on social media. We encourage you to do that. So finally, we do want to briefly introduce Phil. He'll talk a little bit more about Main Street and about himself, but do want to introduce him. He got his degrees from Dartmouth and actually was a football player at Dartmouth, and lives in Manhattan right now and is a managing partner with Main Street ROI. He's an SEO expert, has spoken all over the place and given lots of webinars. So we're really excited Phil's agreed to join us today. And Phil, with that, I'll turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit more about Main Street, and go ahead, sir.
All right, great. McKay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
All right, perfect. Appreciate that intro, and I did want to thank you, McKay, for organizing this, and thank everyone at Log My Calls for organizing this webinar. Really excited to be here, and let's dive right in. So a little housekeeping as McKay went over. Definitely post questions. If you're not familiar with GoToWebinar, there should be a little dashboard in the upper right corner of your screen. You can just type some questions right in there, and we're going to test it out in a minute. So always recommend people turn off distractions. You'll just get the most out of this webinar if you shut off email. Definitely turn off your mobile phones and Facebook and YouTube. And to test out that Q&A section, normally I show a poll during this presentation, but for this I want to test out just asking a question, then you can type in the answer. So just curious how many folks on the line are currently using search engine optimization. So if you are, just type that right into the Q&A box. And if you're not, just type no, not yet. Just trying to get a feel for who's on the line.
And you can see these responses, right, Phil?
Let me take a look. I actually cannot.
Okay, I'll keep you. It looks like the vast majority are. A lot of people say they're trying but not doing it very well, but it looks like the vast majority say yes. There's a few who saying I'm a rookie, we're trying to, sort of. So
Okay.
very few people are saying absolutely no.
Okay. Yeah, we get that a lot. A lot of folks have tried it, or they've tried it in the past, and then I'm going to talk through a lot of the recent updates that Google has rolled out, and because of those updates, maybe you might have lost your rankings, but we're going to go through what you need to do to get those rankings back. So here's what we're going to cover. As I just gave away, we're going to talk about some recent Google updates. We're going to talk about two specific tactics to avoid what I would call old school SEO that can really get you into trouble because of the recent Google updates. Plus, I'm going to reveal two tactics that you can use to get ranked in as little as 30 days. Then I'm going to obviously walk through the 5 rules you need to follow to get and stay ranked in Google. And then towards the end, I'm going to give you a shortcut so that you can get started with SEO today. So out of respect for everyone's time, I like to talk about who this presentation is for and who it's not for. You're going to get the most out of this if you're a business owner or you're an employee and you're in charge of the marketing for your business. Obviously, if you already have a website, it's important to actually get that website ranked. If you provide top quality products and services, you want to be recognized as the #1 provider. That's important. You want to know what it takes to get ranked #1, and you're willing to actually take action on the advice I'm going to give you. Now, this webinar is not for you if you're just trying to trick Google into giving you the #1 spot, because there's a lot of tactics you can try to manipulate the search results and get ranked #1. Some of them will actually get you ranked #1 for a little while, and then Google catches on and they kick you out, and they can penalize you, and in some cases, it's really pretty much impossible to get your website back up. It's also not for you if you want a set it and forget type solution. I know a lot of folks on the line are probably hoping I'm going to show you how to set this up, and then you can just let it run. Unfortunately, there really is no set it and forget it SEO solution. It does take some time and an investment to actually get this to work. There's an upfront investment and then some ongoing work to maintain your rankings. And then finally, this is not really going to be for you if you have no interest in learning SEO, or if you prefer to just stick your head in the sand. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of businesses that I've talked to that were ripped off by some SEO companies in the past, and that there may be some folks on the line that are in that situation. You've invested in SEO, and the company either didn't do what they said they were going to do, or they executed on a plan that may have gotten you penalized. There's a lot of tactics that I'm going to walk through. I'm going to reveal 2 of those that if you were doing them, Google would actually penalize your website. You may have been ranking a year ago, but now you are nowhere to be found. So blindly just handing over the keys to an SEO company, it's definitely not a great idea. You want to understand the SEO basics. So McKay introduced me briefly. He did mention I played football. That was about 40 pounds ago. As you can see, I'm a little bit skinnier now. My name is Phil Frost, the co-founder of Street ROI, and we have helped over 1,500 businesses create profitable online marketing campaigns. We provide internet marketing training, we provide consulting, and we also provide services for businesses that don't want to do the marketing in-house. And my thought leadership in this industry has been featured in Forbes, Inc., Amex Open Forum, and Mashable. All right, before we dive in here, I want to tell you a very brief story about how we founded our company. And on December 16th, 2008, you can see here I met my beautiful wife, Erin, and that's my daughter, Violet, who just turned 9 months. And as you can see in the picture, we did paint her room the color violet. And after several months of dating, Erin and I eventually met Erin's father, Peter, who just so happens to be an attorney, and he owns his own law practice on Long Island, New York, and I'm in New York City here. And when Peter learned that I was in the online marketing and SEO industry, his eyes lit up because he had been looking for an SEO company for, I think he said, about 3 years. He really wanted to get started, but he just didn't know who to trust. He was getting emails about every day, as I'm sure a lot of folks on the line are getting these emails that say, I can guarantee you to get ranked #1. But it's really hard to figure out, who can you really trust in the SEO industry. Unfortunately, there's a lot of shady companies out there. So since he could trust me with his daughter, he could obviously trust me with his online marketing. So we started working together, and within just 30 days, he actually started to rank very high in the search results. You can see him here. These are some examples. He's out in Syosset, New York, which is out on Long Island. So those are some search phrases: Syosset real estate lawyer, Syosset lawyer, and Long Island real estate attorney. And you can see he was ranking #1 there. And he actually had to hire another attorney to take on the additional workload from the calls that he was getting from those listings. So he started referring to his friends and colleagues, and Main Street ROI was born. So it all started with my father-in-law. And we realized really quickly that tons of businesses provide excellent products and services, but they're really not getting the leads and customers that they deserve because they're just not following online marketing best practices. And as you're going to see, they're not super complicated. And I'm going to boil everything down for you in this presentation into just 5 steps that you need to follow. And our motto at Main Street ROI is online marketing made simple. And we're really different from other companies in this industry because we don't just provide services. We focus a lot of time and attention on training and educating our clients. We actually provide educational webinars like you're attending now. We publish a lot of articles online. We also have step-by-step guides on our website, and we sell training courses. So if you're interested in doing it yourself, we provide a lot of educational material. And then if you're looking to outsource it, we also provide the services. All right, I want to bring everyone up to speed with a very brief history of Google. This is important to understand. So way back before Google, there's actually Alta Vista. And I'm sure most attendees do not remember those days. I certainly do not. Well, back then, SEO was super easy. Literally, all you had to do was put keywords on your web pages. So if you're a dentist in New York and you're going after the keyword New York dentist, you would want to have New York dentist on your web page. Have that phrase mentioned on your website more than your competitors' pages, and you were likely to rank #1. Now it was super easy, but because of that, the search results were full of spam. And if you remember back in the days, you could do a search for New York dentist, and a porn site might pop up just because it was so easy to get really whatever you wanted to rank #1 in Google, or sorry, Alta Vista. So because of that, Google onto the market, and they were armed with an algorithm that prevented a lot of that spam from getting into the search results. And they did that by looking at the quantity and quality of links from other websites. So For example, if you have a web page and it has a link from, let's just say, the NewYorkTimes.com website, that is a high quality link from another website, you're going to rank higher than, say, joesblog.com, which probably doesn't have any links from any high quality authoritative websites. So that's really what Google's looking at. They're looking at other people linking to your website rather than only looking at the keywords on your website. And that was their really ingenious scheme to fight the spam. And because of that, more and more folks started using Google, as you know, and they eventually became the #1 search engine, and they really haven't looked back since. They're by far the #1 search engine that people turn to. And now, there's one more point we need to understand here, and that's the fact that Google makes the vast majority of their money on search ad revenue. So in the search results, there's a space for advertising, and people are clicking on those ads, and Google makes money. And because of that, their business model is really dependent on maintaining their status as the go-to search engine, because if people start going over to Yahoo or Bing, they're going to lose all of that ad revenue, and that's going to really hurt their business. So if they let spam get into the search results, that really threatens their business model, because that's why someone would then go to Yahoo or Bing, because they're not getting the results they want to see. So literally every day, some of the smartest people in the Google complex are thinking of ways to fight spam and just make sure that their search results are the best they can possibly be, or else, as I said, they're gonna lose users and lose revenue. All right, so because of that, let's talk about some of the recent updates that Google made to fight spam, because this is a constant battle, and they need to continually roll out updates to fight spam to keep their users. And the first one that you may have heard of was the Panda update. Now with this update, it penalized websites that gave a low quality experience for users. So any type of website where the navigation was not very user friendly, that would be an example of a website that would be penalized, because someone would go to that website and get frustrated, and then get frustrated with Google and go use another search engine. The second update was the Penguin update, and there were actually two of these. There are two big Penguin updates, 1.0 and then 2.0 was not too long ago, back in May 22nd, 2013. And this one hurt a lot of websites, and unfortunately, it hurt a lot of websites that had hired SEO companies that then were doing some tactics that were really against Google's terms of service. So as you can see here, the Penguin update was trying to remove what are called over-optimized websites. And by that, I mentioned before, Google's looking at links from other websites. So what some businesses did and some SEO companies did was they went out and manually created their own links to their websites or to their clients' websites. So that would be over-optimizing your website. That's basically creating links for the sole purpose of getting your website to rank, and it's not a natural link. And Google's really looking for natural links when they want to rank a website higher. And finally, the third update here is Google Plus. I'm sure everyone online has heard of Google Plus. That's Google's answer to Facebook. It's their social networking site, Google Plus. And this was a really a big transition for Google, and it highlights the importance of social media for SEO. Social signals like sharing content, liking an article, Google plusing a page, and commenting are now really important factors for SEO. And this brings us to the death of old school SEO. So back in July 2012, Forbes released this article here called "The Death of SEO, the Rise of Social, PR, and Real Content." And the author, Ken Krogh, said that the recent updates are a death blow to the SEO industry. And for the most part, I agree with that, and I'm going to highlight some of that during this webinar. Because Google is they're continually making it extremely hard to manipulate the search results. All right, so as I promised, here are the 2 old school SEO tactics that you really need to avoid because of those Google updates. And you want to make sure that you're not doing them, obviously, and if you've hired an SEO company, you want to make sure they're not doing this as well. So the first old school tactic is over-optimizing your web page content. For example, you don't want to unnaturally put keywords on your web pages just like multiple times, just throwing in keywords, and your page doesn't even read well. That's something that Google can now pick up on, and they're going to penalize you for that. And you may have heard of an old school SEO term called keyword density, and that's the number of times a keyword shows up on a page versus all the other words on the page. Now, keyword density was an important factor, obviously, back in the Alta Vista days, because that was really the only factor. But nowadays, if you're focusing on keyword density and you're really writing your pages for Google, it's going to get you into more trouble than it's worth. And instead, I really recommend you focus on just writing high-quality content on your website and write for conversions, because that's really the goal here. You're trying to get people to visit your website and then pick up the phone and call you, come visit you in your store, or complete a form on your website. So focus on the conversion on your website. Don't go overboard focusing on keyword density. And second is, do not create too many unnatural self-created links from other websites. So don't go out there. Definitely don't buy links. Buying links is something that Google's not going to count those links if they find out that you purchased them. And don't create a lot of spammy links on fake websites, or go out and write fake comments on blogs just to get those comment pages to link back to your website. Those are examples of old school tactics that they really used to work not too long ago, before the Penguin update, but now they're really going to get you into trouble. Google's going to penalize you as soon as they find out that you're engaging in that kind of practice of going out there and creating your own links. So all of this, both of these, really, it boils down to where you're focusing your time and attention. Don't focus on the Google spider or the Google algorithm. Instead, you want to focus on Google's users, because the Google's users are your prospects, and you really want to align yourself with helping Google's users, or else you're really a threat to Google's business model. So that's what does not work, and now we're going to talk about the future of SEO. And here are 3 predictions. So Google obviously is going to continue to crack down on manipulative SEO tactics. That's obvious. They need to maintain their ad revenue. So if you want to maximize your SEO revenues and your SEO profits over the long term, then you really need to keep your SEO tactics completely clean. You don't want to do anything that could get you into trouble or go against Google's terms of service. That's really important. And second is that it's local and mobile search, and these are just huge growing trends right now. If you're ignoring local and mobile, then you're going to lose Google rankings in the near future if you haven't already. It's really as simple as that. Excuse me. By the end of 2015, there have been some studies that say that mobile traffic is predicted to be bigger than desktop computer traffic. So that means more people are going to go to Google on their mobile phone than they are going to sit down at their desktop or laptop computer and go to google.com. That's a really important fact, because Google's mission, as I've talked about before, is to give their users the absolute best experience. And it doesn't matter if people are coming on their desktops or their mobile devices. They want to make sure they're giving the best websites in the results, and that those websites are giving their users the best experience. So what's going to happen when the majority of the traffic is coming from mobile devices? Well, my prediction is that the search landscape is going to completely change. So a lot of businesses that are ranked high right now are going to drop, and some new businesses that take advantage of this new trend are going to jump ahead of those businesses. And that's because about 70% of businesses right now do not have mobile-friendly websites. So if you're familiar with going to websites on your mobile phone, you probably know how frustrating it is when a website is not mobile-friendly. It's just really hard to navigate. The links are really small. At least with my fingers, I can never hit the link, or I hit it and it clicks on the wrong link, and I just get angry and leave the site. So if that's the case, if your website is not mobile friendly, then people are going to go to your website on their mobile phones. Then they're just going to click the back button and go check out another website until they find one that is mobile friendly. So that type of user behavior is something that Google looks at, and they factor that into their ranking. So by 2015, there's going to be more and more mobile search traffic, and the businesses with mobile-friendly websites are going to have a huge advantage in ranking higher in the search results. And finally, I mentioned this before as well, social signals are going to become even more important. And it's really clear that Google believes social media is the future of SEO. And you can just pay attention to where they've focused their resources. They've rolled out Google+. That was a huge initiative for them. And they've also been on an acquisition spree, buying up a lot of social media companies. So if your company is not using social media, then I really recommend you get started in 2013, or else you're going to risk losing your Google rankings. All right. One of the big misconceptions in SEO is that it's all about tricking Google. And I mentioned right at the beginning, this webinar is not for you if you're looking for ways to trick Google, because SEO is really about partnering with Google. Because again, you need to be aligned with Google's goals, which are to give their users the best experience. And again, their users are your prospects, so you really need to align yourself with Google, and that's how you can get yourself ranked higher in the search results. And as SEO continues to mature and continues to evolve, it's beginning to reflect the real or offline world. For example, in the offline world, you're probably working really hard to get referrals, and you're working hard to get people talking about your business to create a lot of buzz. And all of that activity, helps drive business offline, so off of the internet. And similarly, people online talking about you and sharing information and writing and linking to you and reviewing your business, all of that is going to help you rank higher in Google. So there's a pretty good analogy for everything that you're doing offline is now starting to be reflected in the online algorithm. Now, this big shift has not fully happened yet. That's not by far the biggest factor is links from other websites. I do want you to be aware of where SEO is moving, and it's going to soon closely resemble the offline business world. And as Hall of Fame hockey player Wayne Gretzky said, a good hockey player plays where the puck is, a great hockey player plays where the puck is going to be. So if you want to rank high and stay ranked in Google, you really need to understand where SEO is moving and where it's going to be in the near future. All right, with all that, let's dive into the 5 rules you now need to follow to get and stay ranked in Google. And I call them the 5 R's, and that's just to make it easy to remember. So the first R here is research. So the first step is research, and by that I mean keyword research. It all comes down to what are people typing into Google, and that phrase that they're typing into Google is called a keyword. And the best tool that you're going to want to use, you'll definitely want to write this down if you're not familiar with it, is the Google Keyword Tool. It's actually now called the Google Keyword Planner tool. I need to update the slide. That was a very recent update. Now the tool works just like a thesaurus. So you're going to go to Google's Keyword Planner tool. You're going to type in some of the phrases you think your prospects are searching, and Google's tool will search their database and come back with similar phrases that people are typing into Google. So it's a great way to find what are people searching to find my business and my products and services. It's also going to tell you how often the keyword is searched. And obviously, a really big factor here is going to be going after keywords that have enough search. So if the keyword has 0 search, that's probably not a good opportunity because no one's searching for it. Being ranked number 1 really is not going to drive any leads or sales for you. So you need to focus on keywords that have enough search volume. And one of the bigger factors is actually looking at the intent of the keyword. And by that I mean there's really 2 types of keywords. There's research keywords, where someone is just researching a topic but they're not really looking to make a purchase. And then there's what I call buying intent keywords, where that prospect is going to Google because they want to buy a product or service right now. And the example here I'm using is for a dentist in New York City. And if someone's going to Google and typing in best dentist in NYC, they have much more buying intent than someone searching just how to get whiter teeth. How to get whiter teeth is more of a research keyword. And now when you're doing your keyword research, you may think, both of those are good keywords to go after, but really best dentist in NYC or NYC dentist has just much more buying intent, so you're going to get a greater likelihood of that traffic converting into patients for your practice. Versus how to get whiter teeth, that could be somebody just looking for over-the-counter products that they'll get at Duane Reade or CVS. And the final consideration with keyword research is really, you need to ask yourself, do you deserve to be number 1? Do you actually offer the information that the user is searching for? Do you actually offer that particular product or that particular service? Or if you don't, then you're really you're pretty much wasting your time, because you could try to trick Google in the short term and get ranked for that keyword, but after a while Google is going to figure it out that you're not the best solution and you're not a good match for that keyword, and they're just going to drop you down in the rankings and show somebody else. All right, so second rule to follow here, the second step is called relevance. And by that I mean website relevance. And this is really marketing 101. You're going to match the messaging on your website to what the market is searching for. Because if you don't perfectly match your web page to the keyword, then obviously that user who just did that search in Google is not going to be satisfied, and they're going to likely just click the back button and look for a different web page that does actually match what they're looking for. So always remember, Google is all about satisfying their users, and they really only want to show a web page that is 100% relevant for that particular keyword that's being searched. And that obviously means you need to provide the information that's high quality, and you need to answer the implied question that the user is typing in with that keyword. And there's two important factors that's going to make your web page relevant. The first one is a really important point. You want to pick just one page that you're going to target for a keyword. A lot of people think they're just trying to get their home page to rank for all of the different relevant keywords, but that strategy is just never going to work. One page is never going to be the most relevant page for a lot of different keywords. So you want to do your keyword research in step one, find all of your target keywords, and then match those keywords to pages on your website. And in some cases, you're not going to have that page on your website yet, so you'll have to create a brand new page to match the keyword that you want to rank for. And next, to make your web page relevant and to show Google that you're relevant, you need to make some very basic edits on your website. And you're going to go to the web page that you're targeting, and you're going to want to either you're going to do this or ask your webmaster to do this. You're going to edit the web page title, and I'm showing you here the HTML for the title is the less than sign, title, and then greater than sign. And that's just HTML. You can completely ignore that if you have a webmaster. Just tell them, hey, I want to make the title tag New York City dentist, for example. The key there is that your title is the analogy is to think of your title as like a chapter in a book. Google's going to look at your website, read your web page title, and use that to determine if it's relevant for a keyword. So it's really important, if you use that analogy of the titles are like chapters in a book, you want all of your web pages to have unique titles. That's really, really important, because it would be pretty confusing if you opened up a book and all the titles had the same, or all the chapters had the same chapter name. That would be really confusing. Similarly, it's really confusing for Google. So you want to have unique titles, descriptive titles, and include your keyword in your title, because that's going to tell Google your web page is relevant for that keyword. You also want to include your keyword in what's called your web page headers. And I show you there, H1, H2, H3 is the HTML code. And then obviously include the keyword in the body copy of your web pages. And again, don't worry about keyword density, just write naturally and really focus the majority of your focus for your web pages should be on conversion, but do incorporate the keyword whenever possible. So in addition to those two factors, I also recommend you follow what I call the golden rule of relevance, and that is to create the web page that you would actually want to find if you were the person doing that search. In other words, put yourself in the searcher's shoes or in your prospect's shoes. What is it that she's looking for when your prospect types that keyword into Google? If you can answer that question and make a web page that really satisfies the user, then you're going to be well on your way to ranking higher in the search results. All right, so those are the first two R's. We covered research and relevance, and that's really the first two steps to get you into the game. So that's going to give you a shot at ranking, because at that point, Google now believes you're relevant for the particular keyword, but it's really the next R that we're going to cover that's going to determine how you're ranked in the results. So the first two steps are going to get you kind of in the running to be ranked, and this third R is what Google uses to rank you. And that's going to be your website's reputation. So assuming you have that page that is relevant for a keyword, Google's now going to review your reputation. And I like to use the analogy of your real offline reputation. And it really comes down to cultivating friends. So in the offline world, if you think about what do people consider when they think about your reputation, they look at who do you hang out with, or who would consider you to be their friend. And if you are friends with other authoritative, respected people, you tend to have that credibility by association. And that's really how Google uses links, and they look at all of the links from other websites to your website, and that's essentially like a friend in the offline world. So if I link to your website, my website, mainstreetroi.com, Google knows that we're a legitimate web spam. So because of that link, you a thumbs up and saying, hey, these guys are great, and I vouch for them. I'm linking to them. They provide high quality information, and I think they should be ranked high in the search results. So having links from other people on their websites, is similar to having friends in the offline world, and you really want to make sure that other authoritative and respected websites are linking to you, because on the flip side, if you have spammy websites, so like I was talking about before, fake blogs and fake comments, and Google looks and sees those are really the majority of your links, then that's similar to having a lot of shady friends. And if Google sees that you have a lot of shady friends, that's going to drag down your rankings. And the next bullet point here is encouraging friends to talk positively about you. So of course, your reputation is going to be affected by what people are saying. So the factors there are really social media. So are people liking a lot of your content? Are people sharing it and talking about you? And really, this comes down to focus. You really want to focus on attracting links versus buying or creating links. So I said before, you really shouldn't go out and try to buy a lot of links. Google, once they figure that out, they're just going to devalue those links. And you can really think of it as like going out and trying to buy friends. Once people figure that out, they're going to lose some respect for you. And similarly with going out and creating links is like creating friends. Now, not all links that you create yourself are bad, but you really want to focus your energy on attracting links versus creating them manually. And that was really an old school tactic that used to work, but again, the Penguin update really hurt a lot of websites that were building and manually creating their own links. Okay, I promised I would share 2 specific tactics, and I want to quickly go through those. We're running a little bit late here. First one here is called piggyback SEO, and this one you can use to get ranked very quickly, sometimes in a matter of days instead of months, which is typically what it can take to get ranked in Google. So the way this works, a great example is YouTube. So as I mentioned, the 3 steps are to do the keyword research, then make your website relevant for those keywords, and then build up your reputation by attracting links from other authoritative websites. Now you can piggyback and jump kind of jump the line here by getting some of your information on other websites that are already considered credible and already have a high reputation in Google's eyes. So YouTube, obviously Google trusts YouTube. They own YouTube. So if you put something on youtube.com, if you put a video up there and you give the video a title that exactly matches the keyword that you're targeting, by doing that, you're telling Google it's highly relevant, and YouTube already has a high reputation, so it doesn't take that much to get that YouTube video to rank high in the search results. And you can do that same technique with press release websites like PR Web and WebWire. So again, you're going to do this tactic, you publish content on other websites that have a high reputation, and YouTube and PR Web are great examples, and then you're going to put the keyword that you're targeting in the title of that content. That shows Google that it's relevant, and you've already taken care of the reputation component because Google trusts a site like YouTube. And here's an example. I did take this screenshot a while ago. I think the results have changed, but we were number 1 here, and our YouTube video was actually outranking our blog post, but we had two listings there, and that's a great example of what you can do with this piggyback strategy. The goal would be to get multiple listings for a single keyword, and that way you increase your chances that a prospect will click on a listing that you created and that you control, and therefore you control that message and obviously the call to action. For example, in our video, we told people to go to freeadwordsvideo.com, and that's where we would then get the prospect to complete a form. That we would collect their contact information and then follow up. So that's the tactic here. You can see YouTube outranked our blog post, and that's really the biggest factor there is the fact that Google just trusts YouTube.com, and YouTube.com has a higher reputation than our blog post. The second tactic is related to Google plus local, which is local SEO. And this is a huge growing trend. I talked about it earlier. 20% of searches are local, 40% of mobile searches are local, and 97% of consumers search for local businesses online. So this is a big opportunity. Because of that, Google started giving prominent placement in the search results for local businesses, and they're doing that with the Google Plus local business listings. So you can go to Google Plus and create a business listing, and for a lot of the local intent keywords, and you can search sushi is a great example. Just go and search in Google and type in sushi. Google knows the prospect is looking for a local sushi restaurant, and because of that, you're going to see prominently in the search results all of the local sushi restaurants, and that happens for a lot of different search phrases. So if you're doing your keyword research and you find that Google is showing local listings versus the typical website listings, then this is a great strategy. You can get ranked in as little as 30 days because typically your competition is going to be pretty weak here. And here are really the 3 steps you need to do. It's very similar, but in this case, you're getting your Google Plus local listing to rank. You're not getting your website to rank. So it's a very similar 3-step process, but it's focused on your Google Plus local business listing. Obviously, it all starts with keyword research, and again, you'll use Google's keyword planner tool. Then you want to make your Google Plus profile relevant for the keywords that you want to target, and you'll do that by selecting relevant categories and making sure that your keyword is listed in your business description. And then the third factor is your reputation. And with Google Plus Local, it's not about links. It's about what are called citations. And a citation is a mention of your name, your address, and your phone number. And the acronym is NAP, N-A-P. If you get a lot of citations online and that all of the information is accurate, then Google has confidence that you're a legitimate business, that you're in business, and the information is correct, so that's going to help you rank higher. And last but not least, you also want to have reviews. That, again, is going to show Google that you're a legitimate business, you have good reviews. It shows that you're still in business. Google doesn't want to show any Google Plus listings where the business no longer exists, and ongoing reviews is a good way to show Google, hey, you're still in business, you deserve to be ranked in Google. So those are the 3 steps. We actually have a course I mentioned before that we provide training. One of our training courses is the local SEO formula, and I just wanted to show you how powerful Google Plus Local really is. This is a testimonial from Barney. He said, about a month ago, I ordered the local SEO formula, started going through the steps, and I've noticed my Google rankings moving up, and right now I'm at the #1 position for my most important keyword in my area. I'm now receiving phone calls for my listing, and I just started working on a case that came in directly from Google Plus Local. So it really does work fast, and that's primarily due to the fact that your competition is weak. Whoops. So we covered 3 of the 5 R's. I'm going to get to the next 2 in just a second. Covered the 2 tactics, piggyback SEO and local SEO. And now let's dive into the 4th R, which is my favorite, and that's revenue. Because it doesn't really matter if you're ranked #1. All of this comes down to driving actual leads and paying customers for your business. So #1 goal is not to rank #1, it's to generate revenue. Excuse me. And there's 2 main factors. You need to have compelling website copy, and 2 tips there for having more compelling website copy is to show a lot of social proof. So whenever you can, have testimonials in text, audio, and video format, and have a clear call to action. One of the most common mistakes that I see on websites is it's just not obvious what you want your prospect to do to actually start doing business with you. Just make that really crystal clear. Do you want them to call you? Have that phone number right there. Do you want them to complete a form? Just make that form just really pop out of the page with maybe even an arrow pointing at the form. Just don't make your prospect have to think about what they should do. And then the second factor goes back to the first step, and that's to make sure that the keyword that's being searched, that you're ranking #1 for, is actually being searched by a prospective customer. And again, I used that example, how to get whiter teeth. So if you're a dentist and you're ranked #1 for how to get whiter teeth, that might drive a lot of traffic, but again, a lot of that is just going to be people researching, and they're not really ready to make an appointment with the dentist. So it's not going to be a great return on your investment to put all that effort into getting ranked for a research keyword. And then finally, you obviously need to be tracking your return on investment every month. Otherwise, you really have no idea how much you can afford to invest each month to either maintain your rankings if you're already ranked number one, or to move up in the rankings so that you can get that number one spot, which is going to drive even more leads and more sales. All right, the final R here is responsibility. And I know that responsibility is a scary word, but there's really no halfway with SEO. You really need to just dive in, and I recommend you commit to being the number one listing for the keywords that make sense to go after. So for the buying intent keywords for your business, just really commit to being number one. Because again, SEO is not a set it and forget it strategy. Unfortunately, it's going to take some ongoing work. And it's not you can't take a hands-off approach, unfortunately. I don't recommend you just hire an SEO company and just kind of sit back and wait for the results. At the very least, you need to be monitoring what's going on. Make sure they're not doing any of those two tactics that I listed before, because that can really get you into trouble down the road. And that last point here is, I'm not saying you have to do this yourself. You can obviously delegate a lot of the work, but again, you need to understand SEO, and I think everyone on the line has a better understanding after this webinar about what it does take to get ranked and some of those mistakes to avoid. And that way you can monitor whoever's doing the work, whether you're outsourcing it or you have an in-house team, still need to be proactively monitoring all of that activity on a monthly basis. So I covered a lot of the major updates, and no matter what approach you take, the reality with SEO now is that old school SEO is dead, and I hope I showed you that in this webinar. And following the status quo is either going to get you into trouble or just not work at all. And Google updates make everyone anxious, including myself. I'm not a big fan of them, but there's always a silver lining, because whenever there's a big update, whenever Google rolls out a new algorithm, there's opportunities to climb up. So you really should view all of these updates as opportunities. It's going to weed out a lot of those tricksters who just don't even belong to be ranked, don't belong on the first page of Google or rank number one. So you should really be happy when these updates come out. And if you've seen your rankings drop recently, then now's a great time to follow these 5 steps and get back on track. If you were or if you're currently ranking on top and you're a little bit worried about keeping your rankings, then you can go through these 5 steps and just make sure you maintain those rankings. If you're just getting started with SEO, I know a lot of folks on the line said you are just getting started. Now is a great time, because there have been a lot of kind of shakedowns with Google. They've shaken up the search results. There's a lot of opportunity to swoop in there and steal one of those top spots for one of your target keywords. And by attending this webinar, you've really taken the most critical first step towards improving your SEO, and the next step is obviously to take action. And I told you I wanted to give you a shortcut, and to do that, I actually want to personally review and improve your SEO, and I'll do that with the service called Expert SEO TuneUp. And I'll go through this pretty quickly because we're running out of time. But the SEO TuneUp is essentially a 5-point assessment. I'm going to cover everything that we covered on this webinar. Keyword research, going to find the best keywords. We're going to clean up your web pages so that they're highly relevant for those keywords. Then we're going to assess your links, make sure you don't have any penalties, make sure you have a plan to get high quality links from other websites. Then we'll look at your website conversion strategy so that you're maximizing the revenue from your SEO efforts. And then finally, we'll set up your SEO analytics so that you can track your return on investment month after month. So here's how this all works. You'll get a report in 2 weeks, within 2 weeks, just to be safe there. Then we'll jump on a call for 30 minutes where I'll explain the research we did and all of our recommendations, and obviously answer any questions you have. And then we'll actually optimize your website to make it relevant for your target keywords that we found during the keyword research step. And we'll edit up to 10 of your web pages. And I mentioned before, we'll set up your SEO tracking and analytics. So how much? Well, first, this type of SEO consulting is typically about $500 to upwards of $2,500. In fact, one of our more recent clients paid $2,500 for a very similar service. But of course, I want to reward everyone who's attending today. So you're not going to pay $2,500 or even $500. You can actually get the Expert SEO Tune-Up for only $300. So a pretty nice discount here. And you may be a little concerned with why it's such a low price. And it's really because our mission at Main Street ROI is to make effective online marketing affordable for small businesses. That's our #1 priority. But of course, we have other reasons. We want to make it extremely easy for you to start working with us, and that's how we're going to form those long-term relationships. We just want to make that bar a little bit lower so that we can start working together. We can show you some quick wins, get you moving in the right direction, and then form that long-term relationship. So to get started, you can go to mainstreetroi.com/SEO and complete the secure online form, or you can call our client services manager, Andrea Rosman, and her direct line is 646-470-3753, extension 20. Or if it's easier for you, you can simply type in your name and contact information into the Q&A section, and we'll follow up with you to either answer any questions you have or take your order over the phone, whatever makes the most sense for you. So you can either complete the order form, you can call us, or give us your name and contact information, and we'll follow up with you in the next 24 hours. And with that, we'll open it up to Q&A.
Awesome, Phil. Good stuff. We've got a lot of questions, so I want to hop right in and answer a few of these if we can before we conclude. First of all, the webinar is being recorded, everybody. We've had a few people ask that, so just please know that it's being recorded, and you'll get that recording tomorrow morning. We'll send you an email from Log My Calls, so watch that. It'll say something like recording from yesterday's webinar as the subject line. Okay, let's go through a few of these here. Can you talk about the brand new update, the Hummingbird update that just came out a few days ago, Phil? There have been a lot of, obviously there's the not provided issue for keywords, if you can address that, and then anything you can tell us about the Hummingbird update. Everything I've read indicates that it's kind of more of the same, which is focusing on the user experience, focusing on the context of the search. Google's basically just trying to provide the best experience for the searchers they can possible. So anything you can provide with us on Hummingbird and or that not provided issue that Google now seems to be doing?
Okay, yeah, sure. So the Hummingbird was the most recent update. They kind of snuck that one in. I don't think we have an exact date on when that happened, but as you said, it really is more of the same. It wasn't a targeted update to eliminate spam. It was really focused on making the results faster and more accurate, and that's why they named it Hummingbird, just for speed and accuracy, like a hummingbird. So it really, again, it wasn't targeting any manipulative SEO practices, really more of the same. So, and by that I mean, I talked about the Penguin update and the Panda update, and those were really focused at people who didn't belong to be ranked high in the search results. So I'll use Penguin as the example. A lot of websites that had links from spammy websites were ranking high in the search results. Google finally figured out a way to fix that, and they released the Penguin update, and they released an upgraded version a little while after the first version. But with this Hummingbird, it was really kind of the best analogy that I heard was, if you think of a car, and a car has an engine, and that's really Google. Google has an engine, their algorithm, and they took out the engine and replaced it with a souped-up engine that runs faster, and it's more accurate now. So really, like you said, McKay, more of the same. Nothing specific that you need to worry about, like the Penguin and Panda updates. With the not provided issue, is the top level. I do believe privacy issue. Google, if you're familiar with Google Analytics, how it works, it tracks user behavior on your website. So I can go into my Google Analytics account for Main Street ROI. I can see how many people visited my website in September. I can see which pages they went to. I can see if they made a purchase, so maybe they bought one of our courses. And that's where it gets interesting, because if somebody goes on your website and makes a purchase, so that goes into your e-commerce system and then gives them a unique ID. So let's just say, McKay, you come to our website, you make a purchase, and now it spits back your purchase ID, and we could track you now with that unique identifier. And if Google was also displaying the search phrases, I could run a report and see what McKay is searching for, and that gives me insight into his search behavior. And if I hacked into, call it 100 other websites that McKay has visited, I could then, it becomes a privacy issue at that point. So that, I believe that's why Google did it. There's some conspiracy theories out there why they did it, that they're being manipulative and monopolizing their powers. But at the end of the day, they've hidden the search phrases in Google Analytics, which is the tool where you could really match up a specific visitor to their search phrases. What they are still allowing you to do is run reports in Google Webmaster Tools. So if you're not familiar with that tool, just go to google.com and Google Webmaster Tools. It should be the first result there. Go create an account. You have to verify that you own your website. Highly recommend everyone on the line does that if you haven't already. And within Google Webmaster Tools, you can see the search terms that people are typing in to find your website. The difference between Webmaster Tools and Analytics is you can't match that to a unique visitor, so there's no privacy issues. So I know that went a little bit technical, but I hope that answered the question.
No, that's great. The other thing too that the not provided issue does is, for example, there's a lot of call tracking companies that have built their whole value prop around providing the exact keyword that was searched before the call, so they can marry the call to the keyword. And we have technology that can do that as well, but we provide other ways to track. It obviously can't track to the keyword level, but it's going to be able to tell you whether a call came from Google or Bing Organic or Yahoo or a specific PPC campaign. So anyway, the impacts of this are pretty dramatic from an organic perspective. All right, a couple more things and we'll be done, Phil. In terms of, let's see here. I was going to use, all right, here we go. If you've got someone who has a lot of good content on their site and they feel like they're doing a really good job, but they're still not pushing up in the rankings, give that person advice or motivation to continue producing good content, or what are they doing wrong? I know it's hard for you to say without looking at the site, but there's a few people who are saying, look, I produce good content, I'm still not getting where I want to be in the rankings. Any advice for that person?
So the first step and the first question is to just make sure your great content is focused on a particular keyword. So that was step one that we covered on the webinar, because if you're just going, willy-nilly and creating great content that is, essentially optimized for a phrase that no one is searching, that's not going to help you. So that you want to make sure you start everything with keyword research, figure out what people are searching, and then focus your great content around the search volume, and ideally search keywords where that's going to be one of your ideal prospects that is a little bit further along in the sales cycle that's ready to buy. So that would be the first thing to look at. So if you're just creating great content and you're not really aiming the content at keywords, that could be a problem. Assuming that you did the keyword research and the content is highly relevant for some of your target keywords, the next factor, as I went through, is the third step, and that's that web page's reputation. And it really comes down to the fact that other web pages online have a higher reputation than your web page. And that's the biggest factor to improve your reputation is going to be to get other websites to link to that web page. And you want to get relevant websites to link to that web page. You can't just go out and get like a car mechanic website to link to your dentistry web page. That's not really a relevant website. So make sure you're getting relevant links. If you're creating really good content and you think it's going to be valuable to other websites, my recommendation is to go to some of the big bloggers and big news sites in your industry and pretty much promote that piece of content. So if it's top 10 or top 10 mistakes to avoid, or a list of the top tools, whatever that content is, if you think it's valuable and it's really high quality, then actually go out and promote it, and then get the attention of some of the big names in your industry. That's one tactic. Another tactic, if you have the ability to create great content, is to go to the bloggers in your industry and offer to do a guest article or a guest blog. So the value there is it's truly a win-win-win situation, because all bloggers, the bottleneck there is creating content. So if you can go out and create the content for them, they're happy if it's high quality, because that's going to be another page on their site that could possibly rank in Google and drive more traffic to their website. Their users are going to be happy because it's great information, and you're going to be happy because you're going to request that article have a link back to your website. So if you can form relationships with other bloggers in your industry and do some guest blogging, you can get a column in a website like Forbes. That's going to be a high quality link. If you can write some good articles there. So that's going to get the article on another website to rank, but you're going to get the power of that link back to your web page. That's going to build up your reputation and boost that page up in the rankings.
Good stuff. Phil, thank you for your time today, sir. We'll let you run. I want to just show everybody, before we conclude, where this webinar will be, where you can see the recording. And then we'll get back to our day. So this is logmycalls.com, and you can see right down here there is a little webinar button, and you will see that we have this webinar today. We have another webinar next week about Facebook marketing, and then we have a variety of other recordings that you can watch. So you can see got a webinar about retargeting, about landing page optimization, about another one about retargeting. So there's a lot of good content on here. The vast majority of it is available without filling out a form. So this webinar will be recorded and will be available here tomorrow. We'll send you an email. It'll actually be available this afternoon if you want to check, or we'll send you an email about it tomorrow. So, Phil, any last words before we conclude?
No, this is great. Definitely want to thank you again, McKay, for organizing this. Really appreciate it, and had a great time. If anyone has any questions after we end this, you can always shoot them over to me at support@mainstreetroi.com, and we'll get right back to you.
Great. Phil, thanks again. That was good stuff. And everybody, thanks for taking a few moments out of your day today. As I said, we're having a major product release at Log My Calls next week, so stay tuned for that. It's something that we feel like is really changing the game in terms of how content is analyzed and calls are analyzed. So anyway, thanks for your time, everybody. Phil, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.